Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 365, Bruce and Morgan, Col Tim's 2011. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the fine folks over at Weaver's Department Store. Well, of course, that's me and my wife now. So drop by over at Weaver's to pick up some of the great Mayberry things. Jan just added some cool stuff over there. She added toddler t-shirts, so you can get an Aw Paw t-shirt or a Newest Nippet t-shirt. Both of those come in toddler sizes, so you got a little one in your life, be sure to drop by over there. And I want to mention this one, Floyd's Barbershop Ringer t-shirt. And if you're watching the video, you'll know why. That's at weaversdepartmentstore.com. I'm wearing that t-shirt tonight. So I have my Floyd's Barbershop Ringer t-shirt on. Always sharing the Mayberry love. Got to do it. All right, folks. Hey, it's good to have you. I'm so glad to have you here with me. We're going to be talking tonight about Bruce Bilson and Morgan Brittany. It was Bruce and Morgan over at Col Tim's in 2011. Now, the last several weeks, not counting last week, so the last several episodes, we had gone back into Two Chairs and hit up all the information from Neal Brower's interview with Bruce. It ended up in episode number 363. So you need to go check those out if you've not heard them. Great information. But as part of the show every week when we record live, after the actual recorded podcast episode, we tend to watch clips from Mayberry events around the country or just anything I have that's a little bit of extra content for you. I'll show it for the folks in the chat room. Well, we ran across some stuff a couple of weeks ago that was from Col Tim's in 2011, and it was so good, I wanted to make sure I brought it to you. So we're going to head over to, this is Col Tim's, the same year. Bruce had just, he had had his shows that morning or that afternoon with Neal Brower. And then we had him over at Col Tim's to visit with the crowd that night. So we got a few minutes of Bruce telling a few more stories that I know you're going to enjoy. So I'm going to throw it over to the Mayberry Deputy on stage at the Andy Griffith Playhouse, introducing Mr. Bilson.
We are so pleased every year that we get to have new faces come to Mayberry Days that were associated with the Andy Griffith Show. And you may have met this gentleman at some point over the last few days, but at Col Tim's, everyone is called on again to come and say hello and share some thoughts. And this gentleman, of course, was an assistant director, I believe, for the first 2 seasons of the Andy Griffith Show, and he's a director, in his own right of many other things. And I'd love to introduce, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Bruce Bilson.
To know what to say, I need to see hands how many heard everything I said this afternoon. Wow. Okay. Then I'm going to finish because we got cut off short. Okay? Because what I wanted to talk about, and it won't take too long, but I got a lot of friends back there waiting. They're all getting hungry. I was going to talk about how the week went by for our making an episode of the Andy Griffith Show. And it started on Thursday morning when the prop man and the production designer and the technical guys came to a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning and solved all the problems, like in the Canon show, where we're going to get the Canon. The prop man would show pictures, the director would pick, it was a casting session for a Canon, and solve all the problems. Is there going to be a water gag? How's it going to work? Will there be double wardrobe in case it gets wet? All those kind of technical problems. And they would go away to do their work. And at 10 o'clock, the cast would come in. And that's the regular cast, Don and Andy, Aunt Opie, right? And sometimes a guest actor, but usually not, if they were a guest star. And Sheldon Leonard, who was our executive producer and produced the pilot and directed episode 1, and Aaron Rubin, who was the producer and an incredible writing talent in his own right, and he was the one. And first thing we would do was not read the script we were going to shoot this week, but read the script we were going to shoot next week. And the cast would read it and comment about it. And it was very interesting, especially at the beginning, because Sheldon Leonard was very New York, with these dems, those kind of a guy, right? But very bright and very educated. And on the other side of the table was Andy, who had the temperament and the values and what he brought, and took the New York attitude and jokes and turned them into folksy humor, if you will, with a good, solid meaning underneath it. And they would discuss this script we had just read, and notes would be made, and we'd put it aside, and then we'd get the script we did that to last week, and it had now been through Aaron Rubin's typewriter, and was better, always better, and the cast would read that, and we'd hear it out loud from them, any little comments they wanted to make, and they were dismissed. But Aaron Rubin, Don Knotts, Andy Griffith, Bob Sweeney, the director, I used to know how to say that word on my resume, and the script supervisor and me would go to Aaron Rubin's office every Thursday afternoon and go through the script from page 1. And ideas would come out, or let's change this line, or Andy would say, I wouldn't say that, or Don would come up, as I told you guys this afternoon, I just memorized this, test me, you know. Little things would come, and when that script was finished, Hazel, the script supervisor, was writing the changes, no computers, folks, was writing the changes in her script. When everybody went home, she handed it to me. I took it to the mimeograph lady. Again, no computers, right? And this little old lady retyped the script, and on Friday morning, it was already mimeographed, and it came to the stage, and I handed out those scripts to the cast, and then we rehearsed. So by Friday night, when the cast went home, they knew what they were going to do. We rehearsed on the stage, in the sets, and they could learn their lines over the weekend. And then my job was to schedule, if we had stuff at the 40 Acres, which was a 45-minute drive away, we would try to make it so we had a full day there, because packing up the company and moving in the middle of the day was very wasteful and not very cost-effective. So sometimes there was a scene that was written for The Office, and by taking it and putting it in the 40 Acres, I could fill out a day, so then we'd have full days back in the studio. So that's the way it worked out, and then my job after making that schedule was to make a call sheet, which said everybody, all the actors, the stand-ins, the extras, how many there were, each different department of the crew had a call on that call sheet, and they knew when to come in. And then we rehearsed. And then on Monday, everybody came in, and we started shooting, whether we were at the studio. We would schedule exteriors the first day if we had them, because in case it rained, we had 2 days to back up and catch up with ourselves. So that's the way we did it, and we shot for 3 days, and the next Thursday we started it all over again with the rewrite of the script that we had discussed last Thursday. So I could take one question, but then I get one. So one question I'd be happy to answer. Anybody? Boy, am I a good teacher.
Favorite episode?
My favorite episode, I think that thing that you saw this afternoon from the choir just breaks me up. And I didn't remember it. And I ran, when I knew I was coming, I looked at 31 episodes. I didn't quite get all the way through the first season. But that one, I went down from my office, I said, honey, you got to look at this. And she laughed as I laughed again. So what was my favorite was my job. It was my favorite job. I had 2 favorite jobs. That was one, and the other was a show called Dinosaurs in the early 90s, which Jim Henson and Disney and people in suits, the Dinosaur family, was great fun to do. Now, I get my question. Did anybody here get a picture of me in the parade in that car?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get you to email it to me?
Yep.
B. Bilson, B-B-I-L-S-O-N, 4.
All right, I'm cutting that down where you can't hear him. I don't want to give his
Really
email
made me
address.
happy.
There we go.
I took pictures of everybody else, but I didn't have a picture of me.
So he's wanting an
And
email.
one last anecdote. We were leaving the 40 acres. Ronnie was in the car, and they had been shooting the Untouchables at another part of the 40 acres. And pulling up next to us at a stoplight was a lady who was a dance hall lady, an extra, but full makeup, full bluesy, still wearing the wardrobe spangles and shoulder showing in this old Cadillac. And Ronnie looked out and said, you know, that lady doesn't look like she goes with that car. So that was a bit of Mayberryism. So thank you all. I had a great time here. Thanks a lot.
All right, so I cut off that part so you wouldn't hear his email address because he did tell it out to about 250, 300, I don't know how many people holds, but 250, 300 people there at the Andy Griffith Playhouse. He gave out his email address. What he was asking for was pictures of the parade with him riding in the car. He loved the car he was riding in, so he was asking for pictures. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's Bruce. That's our wrap up from 2011. I still have a lot more information for Bruce Bilson, and we will get to that here on the podcast before we end this thing. Before we do that though, we're gonna have a few weeks here, maybe 3. We're gonna listen and talk to Morgan Brittany. Now, Morgan Brittany was Mary Alice Carter. Hope I'm getting this right. Mary Alice Carter on a color episode of the Andy Griffith Show, where Opie was hoping that she'd go to dance or party with him, and then she ends up telling him yes she'd go, and then the cool guy asked her, and so she breaks it off with Opie, and then comes back and then ends up at the party. She ends up with Opie. So we're going to be hearing from her. So to whet your appetite, to get you ready for it, here is Morgan at Col Tim's 2011. She appeared on stage to give us just a little bit of a heads up of what it's going to be like as we join Morgan and Neal Brower as he interviews her in the coming weeks. So let's head back over to the Andy Griffith Playhouse and Morgan Brittany.
Well, everybody, I am so excited to be here. This is a thrill. All the time, I know, now stop me if you've heard this, because a lot of you have heard me talk already today, but I always got the Mayberry Tags newsletter, and they'd send it to me, and I'd look at it, and I'd go, gee, someday I'm going to have to go up there, and I'm going to have to meet all those wonderful people. And I never actually got around to doing it. Well, just so happened that my husband was going to be in Atlanta doing a movie, and I'm reading the newsletter, and I'm seeing, that's about the same time he's going to be there. I could fly there, and I could go up to Mount Airy and meet everybody. So that's how it happened. I said, that's it. This is the year. I'm going to do it. I'm going to meet all the fans. And I cannot tell you guys how wonderful it has been. I wish I could have spent the whole weekend with you, but I only had today. And so many of you came out and talked to me and told stories. And when I was going down in the parade, I saw so many smiling, happy faces. And it's so different from California. California, they don't smile at all anymore. And it's wonderful to see the attitude and to see the absolute joy with all of you and the love that you have for the Andy Griffith Show. I'm so excited to have been a part of it, to be a part of that history. And I really don't want to miss it anymore. I want to come and visit you guys all the time. Yeah! So anyway, I don't know if any of you came to the screening today and the question-answer session, but if anybody out there has anything you want to ask me real quick, Feel free to about Dallas or Andy Griffith or any of the stuff. If you have a question really fast, that would be fine. Otherwise, I enjoyed meeting all of you. Had a wonderful time, and I cannot tell you, if Washington, D.C. and Congress came and spent Mayberry Days, a weekend at Mayberry Days, we'd get a lot done. Anybody out there, but that's okay. Oh, yes. Hi.
How old were you when you were on the Andy Griffith Show?
When I did that episode, Opie's First Love, I was 14, and I think Ronnie was 13, so I was the older woman. But it was delightful, and I loved it, and it was a wonderful experience. I had a great time. All right, well, I will let you guys get on with the show. Listen, I love you all. It's absolutely great here. God bless you all, and God bless America.
And Barney came out on stage after she went out, and he went, God bless America. Morgan Brittany, very nice lady, extremely nice. It was great to get to meet her. That was the first year I met her. And I was, of course, dressed as Floyd. And when Floyd came over to try to cut her hair, she had nothing to do with that. Since then, she has let me pose beside her, act like I'm cutting her hair, because she got used to me. But first, I was just some guy dressed up like a barber that she did not want me near her with those scissors. So she was very nice. She's been back to Mayberry Days almost every year, I think, since then, at least for some part of Mayberry Days. And this past year, she brought her daughter, and it seems like maybe she brought her previous year as well, but I know she brought her this year. So it's always very nice to see her. And it's like they said there, the folks at Mayberry Days, the people that attend are just some of the salt of the earth. And again, I want to tell you, as listeners of this podcast, if you enjoy this, you would love these Mayberry events. You've got coming up in the next several weeks, you've got an event up in Danville, Indiana, Mayberry in the Midwest. You've got the event over in South Carolina. Mayberry comes to Westminster. You got both of those, I believe, in May. Head over to imayberry.com and click on event calendar and look at the events and find something that you would enjoy. Because I know you would just so much enjoy spending time with fans of the Andy Griffith Show, just like at Mayberry Days. So go to one of them. If you can't get to Mayberry Days, go to something else. All right, folks, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for spending some time with me here in Mayberry. We're going to be heading on out of here, but I would love to hear from you. So give me a call at 888-684-8415 and let me know what you think about these episodes. What do you think about the podcast? What do you think about the Andy Griffith Show? Love to hear from you. You can also email me at floyd@imayberry.com or just drop by twocairsnowaiting.com and leave a note there. Don't forget to go by Weavers and pick up something, because we got stuff that could be your stuff. Until next time, folks, have a great Mayberry week, and we'll see you right here on Two Chairs No Waiting.